eastern sky. Old wind blows by and by. Every day's just as wise. Every day's just as
sky, the moon will rise with the shining eyes. Every night's just as wise. Every night's just as wise. Sun goes down in the western sky. The moon will rise with the shining eyes. Every night's just as wise. Every night's just as wise. Shining eyes. Every night's just as wise. Every night's just as wise. And life continues rolling with love forever flowing on to creation's endless knowing. Through all of time, through all of time. open heart. Golden hair responding to the lightning whisper to the stars. I turn my eyes into windows to wildflowers, white and black holes. The light meeting in my middle, between two worlds, the pattern move. A pattern grows into a map. How many times I take this path, woven with the vine, walking the red road alive. Jackie, I be the Jackie, I be the Jackie, I be the flash of white and open sky, awareness seeing eye to eye, a quilt holding the silence of 1,000 rays streaming through time. I reach out my hand to feel the four winds that turn the wheel, the light meeting in my middle, between two worlds, the pattern move. A pattern grows into a map. How many times I take this path, how many times I peel it back, still the story stays intact. Free my heart of hearts, mystery of love, don't go she love. Jackie, I be the
Peace, greetings, Hiyoko, whoa, how, hello, ciao, every language. Peace to everyone that's currently tuned in. Let me turn this industrial fan off so we can get to building. So today's build, peace to my panel. Pa, what's good? Reem, what's good, cuz?
What's happening with
Peace,
you?
peace.
Shit, everything. I don't know. I don't know a crane. I guess it's an all Panther panel today, huh?
What the deal?
Shit. I'm just gonna do a quick build, bro.
Okay.
I want to do some shit called food for thought. And I'm gonna talk about different food items. Y'all know we use the term item, but different food items or things that we use pre-Mississippian, so people can find, going to other ways of healing themselves, feeding themselves, and all of that good stuff. And they can have an understanding of what life was like before our cousins came up from South America and Mesoamerica. So that's basically what today's build is going to be about. All of you watching, I thank you for tuning in and sitting here with us today. As always, the one thing that I do need from you is to just share this video with one person you know will need, someone that will that this can help. But before I do get into the bill, Pa, if you want to take off, 'cause I know there are some things you had to address or you wanted to address that went down this week. We could start there, and I could save the bill for after.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, nephew. This was like a couple of days ago, and by me being up at work early, I was like, you know what? Let me go on TikTok and see what's going on. So they had the lives. You know how they have the lives up there in the corner, right? So it said live. So I'm looking. So I saw they got this guy. He called himself Baby Ghost something. So they was up there talking on a live, and they had somebody that called themselves Turtle, right? So he was like, "Yeah, all that was going on is called eugenics. Um, when you have people that trying to send you to Indian boarding school, that's eugenics and stuff. And then, when they put people on a reservation, that's eugenics. And he was the saying about how all these things was eugenics and everything, but yet he practiced eugenics because he said that people are pretendians. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, how you gonna say it was eugenics to you, but actually you committed eugenics to to those who say they are tribal and that they are part of a nation, and you say, oh, that nation is no longer alive. That's eugenics. So you're practicing what the Europeans have been doing all along. And then he said that his mama was a European and just had a little bit of Indian in her, and his father too, you know? So I'm like, wow. I'm like, he really telling on himself now. You know, and then he said he could never do good in school because, he felt that his beliefs was totally different from what they was teaching him. So his mama had to put him in a school within the nation of her nation. You know what I'm saying? But it's funny how he talked about eugenics, but yet he said that the Yamasi was extinct. That would be considered eugenics, isn't it? And then he said that the Wale is extinct. Wouldn't that be eugenics?
I made him backtrack on that statement the other day. I think it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? It was Thursday. I made him backtrack on that statement. He said, "Oh,
Mm,
you claim to be Wale, but Wale is Gullah, right? But the Wale are extinct." And in my head, I'm like, well, if the Wale are the Gullah, obviously the motherfuckers ain't extinct.
right,
If some Wale, not if some Wale went amongst the people that we know as the Lower Creeks, then obviously they aren't extinct. Some went to the Calusa, some went to the Yamasi, some went to the Catawba, some ran to the islands. So the bloodline is alive.
right,
The idea of being extinct comes with the process of eugenics, which leads to genocide.
right,
So it's the process of it's a of something that happened that caused the government to say these people don't exist. That so yeah, I got you. I'm with you. I'm here.
and also, and come to think about it, um, when you read the memoirs of the person from Germany who became known as Adolf Hitler, he said that he actually learned eugenics from the Americans. So that program of eugenics started over here and not in World War II. It was over here before World War II.
But this was
But
going on the plantations and shit, the operations and the experiments, and let's mix them with them to see what we get. You see what I'm saying?
right,
Let's
right,
do this to do this to see if we can get this type of trait. You know what I mean? Or this person can't make a child with this person because this physical trait. But this is cracker shit, cracker science. That's no
right,
different than what they was doing over there, right? We get it.
right,
So I'm definitely with you.
right, right. And then, you know, so I'm like, wow. I said, I can't wait till bust his ass wide open. Be like, oh, because he would say, yeah, um, people living on the reservations and their houses on a huge acre of land, but they can't even much grow food because the government told them they was gonna go ahead on and take care of them. See, and that right there, that said a lot to say that his ancestors believed in the United States was going to feed them and clothe them and shelter them. That was a no-no because that right there shows the reason why those federal recognized tribes called the federal government through the BIA their white fathers.
Their daddy.
Their
G
daddy.
shit.
Their daddy. And I was like, ooh, you bitch, you. I got you. So being
Yeah,
federally recognized meaning that you look into the pale face as your daddy.
facts. Fucking facts.
Cause that's where the welfare came in at. They nothing but super welfare recipients because they
Hey,
see that the United States was going to take care of us. And when they saw that the United States did not hold up to their obligation of taking care of it, that's why the reservations look the way they look.
That why, yep. Mm-hmm.
This
Yep.
is why. And I'm
They got
like,
all
ooh,
them
so
drugs on the res, all that
right,
raping going on the
right,
res. Then it bitch
kidnapping.
be
Um,
what? All that murder.
so
It ain't no liquor stores, but it's a liquor store right outside the res that niggas go to. Like, come on, bro.
so
Come
now
on,
my
bro.
question is to them, all of them that talk about their federal recognized, what is the purpose of being federal recognized by just getting a monthly check to be quiet?
Guys.
And see, I always say I'll never show my bloodline online, but I'm not gonna do it. Just like I told you the day before we got on the thing. I saw on my father's side that we got French Canadian and First Nation people mixed on that side. So
Yeah.
he can't say I don't have no tribal bloodline. That's on my dad. But on my mama side, it's down south. It's down south. You heard me? Way down south. Even to the Yucatan. You heard me?
Yeah. Facts. Actual facts. Yeah. Yeah.
So nah,
Excuse me.
you want to talk about nobody ain't got no tribal? Man, I got tribal on my father's side and my mother's side. The father's side dealing with the French Canadian with the First Nation, and in the South with my mother dealing with the Yama.
Yeah.
It did some. It did some. I'm way up there. I'm way up there in the 1500s, nephew. I'm like, damn. They got shit going across the water.
Yeah. Once you actually cross that water, that shit do go a little deeper. I can't even lie. So
Yeah, it go
we
across the
don't,
water. I'm
yeah,
like,
we don't
shit.
walk shit back so far, especially dealing with the European royalty.
Right.
We walk shit back. We talking pre-1500s, 13s and
That part.
12s. Yeah,
That
like
part.
yeah, Crane
I'm like,
definitely goes
shit.
stupid.
I'm like, man, ain't this some shit? And then on my mother's father's side, dealing with the House of D Bourbon.
Type shit, man. Yeah,
That's when they became known as the French Indians down here.
yeah.
But it's okay. It's cool. They can't
That
say
boy
they
got
can't tell
on
you about your bloodline.
about turquoise socks. Hey, I was gonna tell you, I said, hey, you got turquoise uniform. Hey, you Florida State fans ain't no good, man. My bad. Let me do that.
You good, nephew. But yeah, man, it's like and there's a quote that I had put down, and I said that um I say doing your genealogy is a treasure hunt that's a well reward. That's well rewarded. That's what I said. Dealing with the genealogy. It's a treasure hunt that's real well rewarded. And it is because when you start digging and everything, you begin to find all the nuggets and the jewels and the gems and shit. And you're like, wow. So, you know, and it don't even stop there. Because how they say, well, you got 16 grandparents on each side of the mother and the father. You know how far that go back. So to say somebody don't have no kind of tribal bloodline in them is outrageous. Or African or misnomer African. Because at that time during the slave trade, it was called Guinea. Right? In the 1700s, it was called Guinea. It wasn't called Africa. And everything dealing with timeline. That's one thing you know with
Yep.
pops. You got to deal with timeline. Call every specific thing by the timeline. So at the timeline of the so-called transatlantic slave trade, it was called Guinea. Now you got a lot of people that don't like to look at the movie Roots, but what did Fiddler say? He said, "You never seen a man like this before. This here man is a Guinea man. He was from Guinea, right? And then Kunta said that I am a Mandinka warrior from the Ashanti, right? That's what he said. He said who he was. But Fittler said that he was from Guinea because that's what they called that place at that time. And then after that, it became known as Africa, dealing with the continent as a consensus as a whole, dealing after the Berlin Conference of 1884. That's when the whole continent became known worldwide as the continent of Africa.
Facts, facts. I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank y'all for tuning in. Share this video with one person you know. Definitely about to be. Let's see what else we got. Okay. You could continue on. Once I drop, that's gonna be
Yeah,
it for me. So if you wanna continue.
yeah. So, so like I said, do your genealogy and don't give up. When it seems like there's you coming to an end, it's no end. It's no end. You just gotta go through certain sites and do cross checks. You know what I'm saying? Just like you get a book, you got to cross reference. That's what you got to do with these sites. Do the cross reference. Okay, the birthday might be a slight year off or 2 years off, but that'll be that person. Or they might have another way of spelling the last name or spelling the first name. You know what I'm saying? It's things like that. You know, and people be like, man, I just can't get. No, you just gotta sit down. It takes time, it takes patience. And when you start finding things that make you want to go and dig even more and more and more and more, and you go be like, well, god damn, how far does the rabbit hole go? It all depends on how far you're trying to go after that rabbit. You know what I'm saying? Yo, don't give up because this like it did, after the passing and the transition of my grandmother and Hurricane Katrina took mostly all my paperwork that I had. Cause my children to tell you, Dad, why you got all I say this is dealing with our family. But now, since everything is out the way, you know what I mean? I got time on my hand now to go back what I did over what 15 years ago, right? So I'm like, yay. I'm like, yeah, I say I remember my daddy. Now I can find my daddy's daddy's mother, father. And I'm like, wow, that's what's up. And then I'm on my mother's side and everything going on my mother's side and my mother's father's side and finding things. And it's like, yup, I'm getting everything back, everything back. I just told my youngest son, your little cousin, I said, bruh, after everything is done and over with, I'm going to the library and I'm going to print all this out and we're going to put this in a laminated folder where you have the bloodline of the family.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't even know you was in here, Auntie. How you doing? Nah, I'm on stream. Flash right now. Let's see. Anybody got anything else they want to add before I take off with the bill? All right, bet. So that means I can go forward.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
all right. So let me put this joint out. It's gonna be quick. Let me change this real quick. One. Let me change this real quick. Let me call you later, man. Call me later. Once you get situated. Gotta switch my background because it's a different. Uh, yeah. So interesting. So food for thought. So today's bill basically, or what I was coming on to be, we're dealing with, let's see, the land or agriculture before maybe. Oftentimes when we hear about agriculture, and majority of the time when you study indigenous agriculture, it starts with maize, beans, and squash. If we were to start things off with maize, beans, and squash, what this would do is put us in a specific area at a specific time, as opposed to simply saying these people had their own coaches before someone came in and either advanced them or what broke them down. Peace, sis. How you doing? Send this to Auntie because I know she's definitely gonna love this bill. Um, so before maize came to North America, here are some foods, medicines, and drinks. Our people did not wait on maize to feed us. Uh, so let's say first crops. When we speak of first crops, you could think of things like goosefoot, marsh elder, and little barley. Another common food was sunflower, but sunflower was used for foods, oil, and medicine. So these weren't wild gatherings, as these plants were domesticated and managed. These seeds also were stored in specific houses that had clay-lined pits. So during the winter, when food was stored, it wasn't always necessarily food, but the seeds that they would store to carry on into the spring, right? In the forest economy, you had orchids, but of those orchids, you also have other plants. And one that was was most useful were all nuts. So whether it was acorn, hickory, walnuts, and if you're in Georgia, pecans, these became ground into meal and or nuts or nut oil. Pause. When being ground into meal, like a flour, these things can also create a paste, and this would give you a meat-like textured veggie burger or meat. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a vegan meat or replacement. You have pawpaw, mayhaw, plums, grapes, and berries. So these different berries that were in the forest. When we deal with, let's say, roots, you had ground root. Ground root actually was put with different beans. And ground root was also cut up and used for agriculture because it raised the nitrogen isotope within, so everything was going stronger, greener, things like that. So oftentimes where they'll see, well, a C4 style plant, sugarcane and maize have the same genetic structure. But when a botanist is studying, they would study the nitrogen isotope to actually see whether that plant was either sugarcane and or if it was maize or another C4 plant, a carbon 4 style plant. Jerusalem artichoke. So this was used for energy. Our community still eat it today, but it's as Paul would say, in a way, it's like a Viagra to make sure that you still working. You have cattail root and shoots together. These are blended and roasted, and or sometimes they're dried into a flour where meats are actually rolled in the cattail root and the shoots, and they're cooked or prepared that way. Wapitu and kama bugs are also found in pockets in the southeast. But again, the roots were used as food and medicine, but oftentimes they were used to make the agricultural ground stronger. I'll give you an example. If you have a plant that has root rot, and you take that plant, you get rid of the rot, you try to get rid as much as you can take the hull of a coconut, and that hull it's actually roots that actually take the water to grow the coconut, and you can put those roots under your plant or attach them to your plant, and they will begin to feed your plant. So it's a nervous system when you're dealing with the roots. When we deal with things like protein and ceremony, deer and turkey were the backbone of our diet. And Deer Clan were able to they were able to eat deer as long as they didn't cause harm to it. In the coastal regions, you do have estuarine, right? So you have fish, shellfish, turtles. So that's your catfish, your oysters, your clams, your turpin. But the further south you go on the coast, so now we'll talk about Louisiana or the Bagula, right? Or we go into the Appalachia or the Okeechobee or Mayaka, these people they were eating bear and they were eating alligator. So their protein intake was slightly different based off their topography. So based off the type of land that they were living in and the geography where they were living at, it basically dictated their intake. Cranes and other birds were also hunted for meats, feathers, and ceremonies. Hunting was not random, and hunting was regulated by ritual. And each clan took animals tied to their spiritual balance. So when you're in your hunting party, right, there's ritual, there's ceremony, chanting, dancing, things that go fasting, things that go on before going on the hunt. Now, if I'm going on the hunt, I'm Nipitu. Again, that's slang for a long word, but I don't care how hungry I am. I can't bring a Nipitu home to my mother, as that's basically killing one of her ancestors or one of her spiritual sisters. So hunting was regulated. There was a place, time that you could hunt, and there were certain foods that you could intake. And that you could kill. This is what we consider clan taboos. So in a clan taboo, if you see someone of deer family wearing antlers, they never put down that deer to get those antlers. Someone else did, or they may have come across a deer and ceremoniously did what they need to do, and then place that animal back into the land, being thankful for being gifted a thing ritualistically. Now let's talk about drinks and medicines. If y'all have any questions in the chat, I'll definitely be able to answer those. If I don't have the answer, y'all know Crane got the answer. If he don't got the answer, y'all know him and Pa got the answer together. So y'all can put those in the chat. Drinks and medicine. So often I had someone say, well, you can't compare what happened 1,000 years ago to modern day. It's crazy as shit. But people drank more than water. They had flavor, medicines, and ceremony in every cup. So you usually hear about holly or the black drink, and it's a powerful stimulant. It purifies the body in ceremony. It's sipped also daily as a ritual energy drink. Everyone can't stomach it. Everyone can't stomach it. Oh, there go cuz right there. I would prefer you ask a question about the animals, because I don't want to go back. I would definitely prefer a question. Now, let's see. Yes, Red Crane, what's this spoon? Yeah, cuz ask me a question if you may have missed something, and I'll be able to clear it up for you.
Okay.
Let me see. Who else in here? Let's see. All right, say boom, boom, boom. He says, is there a book that goes over our diet? The Yellow Fire isn't out yet. The Medicine Man and Big Chief is on here. He's very strategic. So while the book is already complete, it's not coming out to a specific time or specific date this year. He was saying they put them back in the ground. Yeah, so what I mean by they put them back in the ground is once they find the animal and they do what they do, they're to give it a proper burial. They aren't to leave it out there to the scavengers. Again, that's their family, right? It's like when, remember the cat died at the house that before we moved from the old house. Had I left the cat there, I'd have been wrong. So I had to do a whole ritual, get the cat, clean it, get what I needed, prepare it properly, bury it, and chant, pray, dance. And then what happened when all this was going on, all of the babies she gave birth to came out to that spot. It's ceremony. And it's beautiful too. People think it's crazy. So off of the holly, a lot of people know about the holly. When we talk about cool drinks, sassafras tea is actually a cool drink that is used to kill, that is used to cleanse the blood. Spice bush tea is it's like aromatherapy. It's refreshing and it's actually a mood changer. Mint and wild bergamot are for your stomach, they're for fever, and they were usually drank inside of the summer. So those are summertime drinks, refreshers. We do have the Blue Fire and the Green Fire Volume 2 on Amazon. So if you go on Amazon, you type in the Blue Fire Volume 2 or Vol 2, the Green Fire Vol 2 of those two books will pop up. Those are hardcover and paperback. So medicine infusions, willow bark tea. Now we're getting into the hot drink. So willow bark tea actually was the original aspirin. Dagger, willow's bark tea. That's aspirin. Children were able to take that and it would calm pain and fever. You have bee balm, which was good for infections and colds. Goldenrod and sumac teas, they're good for kidney cleansing, body cooling. And then, as Crane taught me, and well, he taught me all of these, so these are my notes from Cuz. But one that he always mentioned is sweet gum resin, which is chewed or seeped for the throat and chest. So I would take that as being for a common cold. So you have sweet and fermented drinks. So you have maple sap, which was tapped in the spring, drunk sweet, and it was boiled to a syrup. Honey was used raw or fermented with berries. And then you had dairy wine, so light fermented wine for ceremony and refreshment. I seen my cousin take a coconut, and I don't know how he fermented it in 5 minutes, but I hit that bitch one time and went back to drinking the 1800. I was like, that is too strong. I don't know. You did have berry waters. So you have blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, mayhaw, all of these different berries that were mashed into cold drinks. So it was much more advanced than people may think. So speaking of advanced, in the advancement, we're going to talk about the managed food world. So our ancestors actually practiced selective burning. Selective burning is clearing fields to encourage wild grains and tubers. Basically, with them slashing and burning is what you would call it. Burning the field would cause new growth to grow back. This new growth would then start to bring, and they would plant, but this new growth would bring in different animals, different game. So this is how they would replenish the land after they were done using it. You have the managing of nut trees, berry patches, and youth farm groves. If you go to Kolamoki, Munt pointed this out. You can see how they strategically put the pine in one place, then had the pine that was female, so those that were dropping nuts or be able to feed you at another place. Then they had the Yupon in another place. The potatoes were in one place. It was a medicine that's on top of the mound that you only can find in the East and the West. So when people say there were no agriculture or horticulture, they were dead ass wrong. They tend to say the agriculture came by way of maize, because that's their way of ushering in the Mississippians. But again, we have a beautiful culture without. We talked about seed storage, so we went over seed storage. Let's see. By the time maize did reach the Southeast, the Ba'a already had an abundance. So we had the crops in the field, the groves in the forest, the roots under the soil, the teas, the medicines, and cold drinks in every season. Maize was not the foundation, but it was a guest invited to a table already set. Now, before maize, we were already advanced. We had the agriculture, we had the orchids, we had the root crops, the nut oils, the deer, fish, berry, wines, Yupon, holly, energy drinks. But we didn't just survive off that. That gave us a balance. It was science to us, something sacred. When someone else's three sisters came into the land, the body of the Iba'a started to break down. The political system of the Iba'a started to change as something new had come into the system or come into the land. So food for thought, when we're talking about our culture and we're talking about the things that we do in our community, we must mention the things that put us back in our equal, that put us back in our ancient form, that make us ye Musi all over again. That thing, that's our beginning. Because if I, as Iba'a, practice green corn, and green corn or maize didn't come to about 4,000 years ago, alone, we're missing at least 51,000 years of information. If you're on the coast of South Carolina, Georgia, while maize was in North America 4,000 years ago, it didn't get to the coast until about 800 to 900 years ago. So at that time, the Wale, or who people they would consider the Wale, had no knowledge of what maize was, even though the people slightly above them knew what it was. But they had their own culture. They practiced their own way. This the same thing with Kanos, or what everyone knows as Kofa Techekwi today, or also Upaha. But remember, the lady of Upaha and the man in Wale, they had a relationship, but nobody wanted to talk about that. So there's ways that these foods or these food stuffs, quote unquote, started to move into all these different places. When this happens, everyone grandma has a saying, you are what you eat. Yet no one is doing the research to find out what actually happened to these people after they began to change their diet or their diet change. Did you know that the historic Wale do not look like their prehistoric ancestors because maize changed their diet? Did you know that cuz said yucca, black cohosh? Go ahead, Crane. If you want here, you can take off, cuz. If you ain't doing nothing.
Oh no, I'm just sitting back listening, enjoying the bill. Greetings, everybody on the panel or whatnot.
Whoa.
But yeah, also at Colomos, this is what I did. This is what I forgot to say too. It's also redwood out there. It's wormwood, burdock root, black cohosh, yucca, leaf of life. It's at least like over 50 different medicinal plants I've seen out there myself with my own eyes. And even if you know something, right next to Colomoki, where the Mercers is a peanut farm. If you know how to utilize a peanut the proper ways, it can do a lot of medicinal things for you.
Let's see. Peace, what's good? I ain't see Uncle Ed was in here. Let's see what else we got. Peace, what's going on, fam? And let's see. So are the tribes, let me put this up to the screen. Let's see. Are the tribes that are considered language isolates are the old ones you're referring to? Okay, so the ones before the ones from Mesoamerica are the tribes that are considered language isolates are the old ones you're referring to. The ones before the ones from Mesoamerica. Yes and no. Some languages are considered language isolates, but these people migrated from Mesoamerica or South America. So this comes with people like the Timucua, right? The Timucuan speakers. The Timucua isn't one group of people, but it's a big as many groups of people whose languages come out of South America and began to make certain morphologies on their way up into North America. So while Timucua is considered isolate, though it's not, they are South American. Now, on the flip side, you have those old ones, and they'll say, like, for instance, you could say those who are considered Kusabo. Some would say Kusabo was a language isolate, but the Kusabo spoke a similar language to the Wale. It's a fact. And all of them spoke a similar language to the Catawba, who also are not one people, but multiple groups of people who also got the same name as the other two people I named. So the old ones, the old ones are the so-called Eastern Suan. The old ones are those who were originally called Iba'a by their cousins down there in Central and South America. So yeah, it's a yeah and a no. Sometimes they'll throw some South American peoples into that language isolate classification. Like, oh, this language don't match nobody else. Now, I want to give you an example too, bro, because that was a beautiful question. The YouTube, when they say Zoya is a language isolate, they already fucked up because the suffix ha is suing. So obviously they had to either have borrowed from those who were speaking the so-called Suan language, and or what if these languages were one and the same, they just spoke different dialects of it. And that's what really confused me here. But that was a beautiful ass question. And it was formatted perfect too. Right. That's why they were so tight. Because you think about it, when we think about the old world, we talking about when DeSoto pulled up. People, right? When DeSoto pulled up, there was no Cherokee, there was no Creeks, no Catawba, no Casabo, there was none of that shit. So when he is dealing with the people in Appalachia, they spoke a language that wasn't mutually intelligible to the people that took DeSoto to Upaha. So that alone would tell you, like, wait, the Appalachia, their first language wasn't even Chibi. It had to be something else. And then you have everyone, I would like to add, like, you have to ask yourself, why does Appalachia in its root form mean the same thing as Upaha? And when DeSoto was going to Upaha, what languages or language was his guide speaking? And why was that language completely different from the language of the Upaha? See, the lady, what they call the lady of Popocatépetl, she knew the language because she was one of the priests. Remember, she was called an Orata, which is an original term because she ruled many villages. But she was considered a Mika or a Miku because she accepted the green corn ceremony or the green corn priesthood. The Mikutani or the Mikutani, who the Cherokee called the Ani Kutani. That's the Yuchian priesthood. So the language is considered isolate because only the priest knew it. It came out of another language, but only the priest knew it. It's the same thing with Yama. Yama was originally a governing language. Somebody took the language of Yama and then said, this is Hichiti. But remember, the Mobilian trade language was called Yama. So obviously it can't be fucking Hichiti when the Hichiti or the Chickasaw, okay, are there not Mobilian contributions to the Chickasaw language and into Chata and Siouan? So the actual ancient languages are being misclassified as younger languages, when in fact they predate the people who are speaking the younger languages. So Yuchian is isolate because only the priests knew it. But the Yuchi still did business with the Shira, and the Yuchi still did business with the Tamukwa who were down there on TV Island, because it was some Wale down there and it was some Makoma people down there. So what did the Yuchi know that they were able to deal with people who didn't even like each other, that were islands of great, and they ass was in Cahokia. See, they try to say the languages are isolated because they want people to feel dumb. Think about it. If the Yuchi, the so-called Suan, the so-called what's their name? The Yamasi, there you go, rats, the Yama. If all of these people came together and said, we're gonna make a bigger town, a big ass trade town, but you find copper from the Great Lakes in Florida and Georgia, but you find quartz and crystal from Florida and Georgia in the Great Lakes region. You find maize in Cahokia, but those potteries that the maize kernels were found in come from the southeast. So they have to say, nah, this was isolated. They ain't deal with each other. They ain't deal. Nobody dealt with each other. Because if they tell you how intertwined this shit was, they got a problem. Because it's no longer that we took down a group of, we just did that. No. It's no longer that. They now have to tell the story that there were actual systems, that these waterways were the trade routes that are here in the comments.
And what they're not telling the people is too, nephew, nothing isn't isolated because people was trading and they was fucking. That's what they keep on forgetting. Excuse my
But
French.
no, you good. But we find this in language. So if you say, okay, watch this. Here's a perfect example. If maize is not originally from North America, this would mean that when the people got the maize, they would have had to either adopt the name from the people that gave it to them or create their own word. Whichever way, that had to be done in order to carry that forward. So that's the timeline on when the the botanists or linguistic anthropologists are coming in and say, okay, boom. So maize got here around this time. Then these people, based off science, adopted it at this time. This is their word for maize, so it had to have come around this time. And then if we trace the migration of maize, we can say this group of people brought it up this way, and this is how it spread. Boom, 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 boom. Everybody talking about the Olmec, but nobody mentions the Yamasi and the Yuchi. Why? How Olmec are you? Yep. Everybody talk about the Olmec, but none of you niggas are enrolled in the Mississippi. None of you are enrolled in the Mississippi. You might call them Mikusuki today because you pronouncing it like an Englishman. But the Mississippi were the people who started this maize shit. And they were the mothers to the babies birthed by the Olmec men. So there was a merger in the culture. Nobody ever sat back and wondered, like, damn, why Chincha Issa and Cahokia look the fucking same? Nobody ever sat there and asked that question.
I always said that, nephew.
Nobody ever said, if Yucatan means I don't understand your speech, and you is the root, what the fuck does Yuchi mean? I don't know. Who am I? Niggas talk about this Olmec shit, but never have they mentioned the Yamapo River. Why? This shit gets deep, bro. This shit gets deep. Because we know who brought the crops up here. But Europeans have to say, well, we have to give them the credit for the building too. Because if we don't, then we say that there was a system that's older than the Olmec in the Americas. The Southeast has a beautiful story. Before maize, before beans, squash, and cotton, but everything is taught as if it came into the land. For the simple fact is, them crackers know there were niggas already there. Before niggas came from anywhere up out of South America, out of Central America. Niggas was already coming down from Canada, coming up from South America, going down from North America into South America, and back up. And from the Caribs to South America, from the Caribbean all the way to North America, and sometimes to Canada. But they'll tell you, nah, these languages are isolated. How the fuck in Savannah is an Arawakian word? Whoever told you Savannah comes from Shawnee, read the Blue Fire. I gave you the bone. I say Savannah. Zabana, Arawak. Look it up. Look it up. So Savannah or Zabana is Arawak, and Wally is Arawak. Makana as a stone hatchet is Arawak. Atiku, interpreters, Arawak. That's what they tell you. But then the bitches say, oh, nah, we don't know what the Wale language was. They'll tell you, yeah, there are people who spoke Arawak, or what we consider Taino people, that were in the Southeast amongst the Wale and amongst the Yuba'a people. Fuck it, I'll give y'all a bone. You could go look up a dictionary that was created for the Kasabo. The person that made it said, the little words that I have are Kasabo, I also found in fucking Catawba in Arawak. Yep. Why have pine trees and redwood canoes been found that were made in Florida, been found in the Caribbean? They have to make it seem like no one went everywhere. For the simple fact, it makes their claim stronger. That's why Eagle Joe said, when the right man wrote that they came over here in boats and that they was the only ones who did it, it's because they wrote it. And he started laughing. Because if they tell you, and you know, the people over there actually had adequate vessels that they could put in water and actually go from the Yucatan and enter into Florida. Because you got to remember, Florida was separated into North, Central, and South. Lake Okeechobee flooded into the Gulf, and it went all the way into the Atlantic Ocean. It still do today. But there was no levees and no bridges to block the water off. So they would literally flow into Florida and be able to settle at Okeechobee, which itself was an ocean. Tell me I'm wrong. And if you do, I need you to do it from an indigenous perspective, because I have the elder on here with. This is where a first group of the Yama settled. That's why they're still there today. The people that are Miccosukee, thank you.
Yep.
The Miccosukee, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Till this day, they tell you that they're the Mayans. To this day, they tell you they're the Mayans. Go talk to the Miccosukee, because they mamas was, they granddaddies them was killed by the Olmec. The Olmec was calling the Mokaya the Miccosukee, the children of the corn. The corn,
Yep,
come on,
I
bro.
said that a long time ago. Yep.
Come on, bro. So them people left. They left. They land up. They settled in Okeechobee. But while they there, they fighting battles with bitches that was already there. Whole time, a bitch come looking for them, trying to kill them anyway. And everybody just said, you know what? Whoever these new niggas is coming on the scene, we finna jump on their ass. That's what happened. That's how you get a Crystal River. Crystal River wasn't just the Mayans. You got the Temupa speakers coming down and the Appalachian coming down too. That's why you still see the cross shape that come from the Wale, the Appalachian, and the Temupa. That cross hatchet, it's a certain, everybody had a cross, but it's a certain cross that I won't show y'all, but actually was given to the Yama as a gift. Everybody talking this medicine, well, shit, it's the reason most people shit are the same. Yeah, all right. All right.
They ain't ready, nephew.
I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm done for the day. I just hit an hour. That's it. So y'all can take over if y'all want. I'm done. I'm done. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And that's the way how it went, and that's the way it goes.
Yes,
Yep,
sir.
yep.
Yes,
Like I said,
sir.
Big Kentucky, big waters.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Big water. And then wait until they find out about the canal that ran from the Gulf, and that bitch came through North Florida and ran through Gainesville all the way into Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So the border that we see of Florida today wasn't even the border that it was 10,000 years ago. A bitch could put their boat in that canal if the current was flowing east to west. And it'll take them a few hours to drop them off in the Gulf.
Right. That's how we was able to get that Mayan blue from up there all the way back down to South America that quick.
Okay, okay. This one and people, oh, Mayan blue, but none of you niggas y'all don't say shit about the Duke Blue Devils. Y'all don't say shit about the Tar Heels.
Mhm.
Y'all don't say shit about the Carolina Panthers. That blue is blue clay out of Carolina and Georgia. The red, white, and the blue.
Mhm.
Talking about medicine, yes. Oh my God. Interesting. Interesting. Interesting.
AI even know, huh? Artificial intelligence.
Hell no. Listen. Yeah, my bro said I see it. What about Jacksonville, dude? Because what about Jacksonville? Originally, um, there were people that inhabited that land. Eventually, they became known as the Temupa, or as so many different bands of Temupa. But you have like the Makoma, or those who are Saturiwa or Saturaba, and the Takaruru, Takatakaruru. They inhabited that particular area. So you can look into those groups. They were some of the first people to come out of South America. All right, Crane said he about to start a prayer. Let's see what else we
That
got.
rice,
Yeah, the
that that
Utina. That's another. The Utina is another branch of the Chalupa. It said, "Have you
somebody
encountered wild rice?" I'll tell you something about the wild rice. Wild rice is not wild. Wild rice was planted specifically in certain places, because that's where they got the nutrients from, right? So I get what you're saying. So I'm not playing on what you're saying, but I want you to know a lot of the things that they consider wild, that was a part of agriculture. The mothers put that there to grow in that place for a specific reason. And definitely Carolina and uh Virginia. It say what you say about the Jaguar. I won't tell anyone anything about the Jaguar outside that it's my family spirit. And it's actually an ancient animal that's seen in many mythologies. And that yes, we come from the water. So big cats, all cats are descendants of a great mother, um, that walk on land from the water. So there was some things I can't tell you about the Jaguar. Other
so when
things
you
I
got
can
people
tell you. Oh, go ahead.
Well, you got people that say, "Oh, cats don't like water." They lie to you.
Yeah, yeah, facts. When you cats are born, you can put cats in water, they'll have no problem. It's the way that it's domestic cats have more fur on them. So having water on them is like it's weird. It's like anybody know how I feel, like make them feel slimy basically. So yeah, that's why domestic cats try their best not to deal in water. But if you train them from the jump, they gonna continue being their natural spirit. They come from the water. It's why cats are damn near a perfect hunter within the water. Certain cats got too big, so they had to leave the water and stay on the land. I say, Grandma called me Tiger and told me I was Yuchi. Oh, for shit show, for shit show. He said, I just seen the cat swimming. Raw Weiss is dagger. That's what feeding. That's what feeds the so-called wild rice. What's good, Big Chief? You got Chief Car in the building. Okay, facts. Say I'm Yuchi. Say like being wet with clothes on. Facts. Like you have no problem getting wet, but nobody wanna have wet clothes, right? I work and I be working. That shit be 100 degrees. You down. You gotta change your shirts, change your boxers. Everything. They say do you know why some people adopted the tiger animal? I'm from Oklahoma and I seen this on old documents. Okay, some people adopted it because they didn't have an animal of their own. Some were taken into the tiger family. Others were simply born tiger family. So if you see tiger on the documents, tiger and panther are interchangeable. That would make one technically panther family. But tiger is basically the root, right? So tiger and panthers are the same. Tigers, panther or panthera is a classification. Tiger is a specific. The thing was, the tiger and the jaguar used to get confused because of the tiger, the stripes and the spots. Europeans would say, well, that cat has spots, so it's a tiger. You see what I'm saying? But we over here would say jaguar, jaguari, uh oh that, you get so many different words, right? But they said, well, shit, it got stripes or spots, that motherfucker a tiger. So whoever was speaking English said, hey, I'm tiger. Yeah. So you will see Tiger family and the Seminole too, the Mikusuki, which is amazing because the Mikusuki are a group of Mayan that dealt with the green corn ceremony and the Yuchi priesthood. So that's a great tie-in. See, I used to confuse the leopard and the cheetah. Yeah, definitely. Now, the thing about the leopard and the cheetah, or excuse me, I'll say the leopard, the cheetah, and the jaguar. The way to clearly tell the difference is there are spots inside the silhouette or that the different designs, the circles, whatever. So those are the ones who do have the spot. Um, Now the cheetah and the leopard, ironically, one of their oldest ancestors is an American cat that migrated from the Americas through Alaska, through the Bering Straits, through Asia, down through India, down into Africa, mutated, and became the cheetah. So the cheetah actually has an American grandmother. How ironic would it be if uh, some beings followed the animals into Africa, then migrated back out? I don't know. Who am I? Let's see. Yeah, yeah, that the Yuchi priesthood really included almost everybody. You even had some Algonquin people who were part of the Yuchi priesthood. But being that the priesthood was genetic, um, you had to have a daddy that was a priest. The Cherokee, uh, they were upset, or the people that we know today as the Cherokee or the Tishragiri, um, they came into the land and got rid of the Anikutani and the original people known as the Akutua. Um, Yeah, and then they basically took on the names of the people they unalive and took their ceremonies and rituals and made them their own. And bro, that's in Oklahoma. When Little Deer back on here, he's the one to get in touch with, because you know, Cuz is enrolled out there in Oklahoma. And he can assist you with that. He actually just came from the Uchi ceremony too. Let's see. Anybody have anything else to add before I drop? Because football about to start. So y'all know I got to set up this patio, get ready for these games. Auntie, you listening in right now?
Yes, I'm here. Greetings.
Oh, peace. I just want to thank you for listening in. I ain't know if you were still there. So thank you for sitting there with us.
For sure.
Let's see. Pop, you got any final thoughts? Anything you want to drop before we go?
Oh, yeah. What people in them have to realize is that before we even move into these lands, we had to ask certain permission. We just didn't go in. So it's a certain way that you act in order for them to be like, yeah, you can come in. So to say somebody is isolated, that's a big old no-no because they don't
Yeah,
know how to
facts.
act. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and this like my nephew like to say when we stay down here in New Orleans, oh spy boy, spy boy,
Hey,
what
for
you got for
real.
the right team?
Y'all,
What you got for the big chief?
what you got
What
for
did
me?
you see? What did you see?
Hey, hey,
And that's how that went.
hey, what, what are the only two jobs of a security officer? Observe and report. Oh,
Observe and
spy
report. That's
boy.
right.
What? I was a
That's
security
right.
guard. I understand. I was a spy boy. I understand. Like, listen, you have to send someone. The sailor went to CCC to see what he could CCC, and all that he could CCC was the bottom of the deep blue CCC. Oh, spy boy, what
That's
can
why
you
they say.
observe and report?
That's why they say only spy boy meets spy boy.
Come on. So
They're not
we
ready.
knew we knew how to get in touch with each other.
Mm.
See, it's one thing they do in New Orleans every year, and I love it. And that's a way of communication. Because you can't get to the big chief unless you go through this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what was going on in the ancient world. People made bonds. You know what? What we gonna do is to stop the war between Wale and Orista. We're gonna have a child, and this child is gonna be able. He's gonna be this. He's gonna be from over here. He's gonna be able to speak for all of these people, or for these two people. It's how shit done. You know who didn't ask for permission, or who did ask for permission and lied about it? The Lenape. Since a nigga
Mm,
say I'm always talking about the Lenape, and it's been a year,
mm,
let me bring them up. Them fuck niggas
mm,
ain't asked for no permission. They
mm,
lit. What I mean by that is they lied. They literally came over and said, "Hey, look, we want to cross. We were promised this land." The people say, "How the fuck you was promised my land?" They say, "Our
mm-hmm,
God told us y'all land belonged to us." That don't
mm-hmm,
sound fucking familiar. So
mm.
niggas say, "Man, look, y'all can't live here, but y'all can live to the east of us over there." They say, "Okay, we only gonna bring about 1,000 people." Them people crossed with 10,000 people,
That's
and
what you
then
told
started
us,
to
man.
come on, and then start killing off the original inhabitants. Man, that's another story. I don't even. I'm out, y'all. Hey, let me see. I'ma let Reem. I got cuz in the cut. I forgot. Reem, you want to drop something today, cuz, or you already on the clock? Okay. Okay, Cub probably shaking something right now. So I'm gonna just let Little Will take us out. Everyone, I appreciate you. If you are watching, we have 11 live viewers. That means I should have at least 11 likes on this video. Because I know all of y'all like the video because this number been going from 11 to 12 to 13. It's been going up and dropping back to the same 11. So we have a core 11. You are the core that I need so desperately. I need you to share these videos. You can share it to your YouTube, Instagram, wherever. Get it to someone who actually needs this information. After the video is done, come back and leave a comment so we can get the views. And we're about 30 followers away from 1,000. So you all doing your job. Thank you all so much. I'm gonna drop everybody, change the back, and I'm gonna let Little Will go ahead and take us out.
flash of